Okay, let's decode this. The coping mask revelation. You know what's wild? Some of the behaviors we bragged about as kids, being the mature one, the quiet one, the funny one, turn out to be trauma. That perfect kid, the one who followed every rule, got every gold star, and never caused drama? Yeah, probably terrified. See, overachievement isn't always about ambition. Sometimes it's fear in a blazer. A kid who learned that love only comes after a flawless report card. They become the fixer, the helper, the invisible MVP of the family system. Why? Because making noise wasn't safe. Being needy felt like being a burden. Adults love these kids. They praise their independence. But what they're really doing is rewarding a mask. So the child learns, be perfect or be invisible. They fear mistakes. Rest feels dangerous. Praise becomes oxygen. Fast forward to adulthood, chronic anxiety, fear of being lazy, a need to earn love instead of just receive it. Perfectionism isn't a flex. It's a wound that claps when it bleeds, just to keep everyone else comfortable. The politeness trap. You're so mature for your age. Sounds like a compliment, right? Until you realize it's code for, thanks for not having needs. Because when a kid is calm, helpful, and emotionally composed at age 7, something's probably off. Like, why is a child managing adult emotions? They weren't born that way. They adapted, maybe to a parent who exploded easily or melted down often. So they became the stable one, the emotional sponge. These kids don't cry much, don't complain, because they learned early their pain isn't safe to share. They feel guilty asking for help, ashamed when they feel overwhelmed, and they carry that guilt forever, still trying not to be too much. So yeah, they're polite, but inside, there's a kid who never got to be a kid because they were too busy parenting the adults in the room. The people pleaser origin story. If you were the kid who said yes to everything, even when you didn't want to, that wasn't kindness. That was survival. In unpredictable homes, people-pleasing becomes armor. When moods shift fast and love feels conditional, saying no feels dangerous. So you learn, make everyone happy equals stay safe. You ignore your gut. You over-apologize. You disappear into other people's needs. Boundaries? Not allowed. No, might have triggered rejection, or worse. So the fawn response kicks in. You smile when you're scared. Laugh when you want to cry. You adapt to them, because it's not safe to be you. As an adult, this looks like being nice, but it's really being scared. Of conflict, of disapproval, of disappointing anyone. And one day, you wake up realizing you spent your whole life shape-shifting to survive. The lone wolf defense. Were you that kid who always preferred to play alone? Always independent, even when others begged you to join? Turns out, that might not be personality. It might be protection. When connection feels unsafe, solitude becomes sanctuary. Kids retreat when caregivers are chaotic, inconsistent, or emotionally unavailable. So playing alone isn't just a hobby. It's a shield, a way to control one part of a world that felt totally unpredictable. People assumed you were shy, but really you were withdrawing. Not because you didn't like people, because people felt like danger. Over time, this turns into hyper-independence. Not asking for help, not trusting anyone, assuming it's safer to rely on no one but yourself. And while that kept you safe as a kid, it builds walls in adulthood. You crave closeness, but fear it too. The good listener syndrome. Wow, you're such a good listener. Cool. But what if that skill started when you were 8 and your parent cried to you about their marriage? Yeah, that's not empathy. That's parentification. When kids become the family therapist, their own emotions get benched. They learn that being useful is their only safe way to connect. So they hold space for everyone, but never get held themselves. They become magnets for emotionally needy people. The helper, the fixer, the strong one. But behind the scenes, burnout, resentment, exhaustion, because they were trained to give, not receive. To listen, not speak. To hold pain, but never release their own. And eventually, they forget they have needs, because being needed became their whole identity. The Vanishing Act. Remember being the quiet kid? Never got in trouble. Sat at the back. Didn't speak unless spoken to? That might not be shyness. That might be fawning. Fawning is trauma's stealth mode. It's the survival strategy where you make yourself so small, no one sees you, and therefore, no one hurts you. These kids don't complain, don't demand. They shrink to survive. It's not because they're peaceful. It's because being visible once cost them something. Love, safety, dignity. So now, they apologize for existing. Say sorry when someone bumps into them. As adults, they become shapeshifters, adapting to every room, hiding opinions, playing roles instead of showing up as themselves. Because somewhere deep down, they still believe, if you see the real me, you'll leave. The humor armor. Everyone loves the funny kid. But here's the thing. Sometimes the class clown isn't laughing with you. They're just dodging landmines with punchlines. Humor is one of the smartest coping tools the brain invents. Crack a joke before someone gets close. Make him laugh before they ask, "Are you okay?" For some kids, being funny kept the peace. It distracted from chaos. It let them control the room, even if they couldn't control the house. They joke about trauma before anyone else can. They make light of things that were actually heavy, because making people laugh is safer than being taken seriously. But the cost? Loneliness. Because when you're always the entertainer, no one stops to check how you're doing. Behind the smile? Often, a kid who learned that vulnerability equals danger. So they turn it into a comedy act. The hyper-independence lie. Wow, you're so responsible. Translation. Wow, no one showed up for you. So you had to do everything yourself. Some kids learn early. No one's coming. So they stop asking. They pack their own lunch at 6. Handle their emotions at 8. Keep secrets. Solve problems. Never cry. People praise them. They become the strong ones. But really, they're just kids who got tired of being disappointed. Hyper-independence looks strong. But inside, it's a terrified child who still doesn't trust that help won't hurt. So they grow up never delegating, never leaning on anyone, and burning out in silence because relying on others feels like weakness. It's not that they don't want support. It's that they never learned how to receive it. The overthinking root. If you were the kid who overanalyzed everything, double-checked, second-guessed, replayed every mistake in your head, that's not just being cautious. That's survival. Kids who get punished for innocent mistakes learn one thing fast. Be perfect or be punished. So they start overthinking. Every action, every sentence, every facial expression. Because they're trying to avoid an emotional landmine. They internalize the blame, even when they didn't do anything wrong. And later, decision-making becomes paralyzing. Because their brain is wired to expect consequences for every tiny misstep. Overthinking isn't just a habit. It's a nervous system that never got to feel safe enough to just choose. The Emotional Translator. Some kids could read a room before they could read a book. Not because they were born emotionally gifted, but because they had to be. They learned to scan every voice tone, facial twitch, or footstep pattern. Not out of empathy, out of alertness. This isn't emotional intelligence. It's hypervigilance. They were decoding adults like bomb defusal experts. Because the wrong joke or word could set someone off. So now as adults, they overanalyze texts, read too much into pauses, feel like silence means they did something wrong. They're always on, always adjusting, even when nothing's actually wrong, because their body still believes. Peace is temporary. Danger is one frown away. If any of that hit too close to home, that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you adapted. Because healing isn't about fixing yourself. It's about finally giving yourself the safety you always deserved. All right, that's the real talk for today. What were your biggest takeaways? Let me know in the comments below. If you dug this video, a like would be awesome, and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. See you then.